It was one day when I was coming out of work and I had just put in my usual 10, 12 hour day on what's supposed to be an 8 hour work day. But as a leader in healthcare, of course, those hours run away from you. I was just coming out of my hospital building and it was early evening. There was this beautiful sunset. Sky was orange, pink, purple. And I noticed it. I noticed the fresh air because I had been cooped up in my hospital building all day working. And I had to walk about a block away to get to my car. And as I'm walking there, I noticed someone was walking by me. They were on their phone. And you know what caught my attention was that while this person was on the phone, they're having what seemed like a pleasant conversation and they're laughing, talking into the phone. It caught me with this just little ping of slight jealousy because I wanted to feel light, happy, laughing. So I came to and I just kept walking, and now I'm hearing some music off to my right side. And when I look up and over to where the music was coming from, it was actually coming from this group of people. They were actually some of our mental health patients who were taking a cigarette break. There was a dedicated area where the nurses could bring the patients out throughout the day just to take that fresh air break, and they had a radio with them. The radio was playing some really good music. I really love music, so it caught my attention for sure. And it was like it felt like in the movies when they go into slow motion, and I really zoomed in on the scene to the point where I almost felt like I was in the mix with them because they were just talking, they were smoking. There was a nurse with them. I could see her smiling and talking back with one of the patients. They're laughing, they're singing along with the music. And I just wanted to be there. I just wanted to be one of them. And down that rabbit hole, I went mentally thinking, how could I be one of them? And I was feeling like I was so close to my edge that I was worried about my own mental health at that time. I had basically was feeling like I had hit my limit. So in that moment, I'm trying to figure out like how do I get to be one of them? I want to go sit there and just talk, laugh, joke, listen to music, smoke a cigarette, if you will. I mean, it all seems so relaxing in the moment. And then out of nowhere, all of a sudden, one of the ambulance sirens runs by as they're heading over to our ER, and that loud alarming of the ambulance kind of snapped me out of what I was sucked into in that moment. It felt like I just got pulled right out of that situation. And honestly, my eyes filled up with tears in that moment because I was back in my reality where I was having to rush to get into my car to hurry up home to get settled in with dinner with the kids and husband, and this was my everyday. I would get up and do the same thing again tomorrow. It was just the constant rushing and running around, and I didn't feel like I had the energy anymore to do it. I actually started thinking to myself, like, how do I get back into that situation I was just mesmerized with? I could turn around and check myself into the ER and tell them that I need to see a doctor because I felt like I was on the brink of a breakdown. And then I thought, well, no, I can't do that. I mean, that's my hospital and this is where I work and my kids need me. I got to get home. So I kind of quickly washed that out of my mind. But just the fact that that thought even came into my head, I later learned and realized that I'm not alone in these thoughts as women. In fact, I met this one woman who she was a physician and she used to fantasize about committing a small crime just so that she could get thrown into jail overnight and take a break from life, not have to worry about what needed to be done for dinner or household chores or etc. So it's actually thoughts like this, unfortunately, are more common than they're not amongst professional women who are carrying the burdens and the obligations of so many areas of their life. Well, later on, I did rush home and I just about cried the whole drive home. My commute was a long one. I cried just about the whole time there. And it was probably about a month or two later where I finally decided that I couldn't keep up anymore and that my body and my mind needed some attention. So I actually ended up going out on a stress leave for about 2 months. And when I came back, I realized that I still wasn't able to get back to a sense of peace and normalcy. So I had made a very big decision to just walk away. I had resigned from my position and went to do some work that was not as intensive of me. And I took the time for myself. Now, I call this a mandatory timeout from life. It was not convenient. It was not easy for me to do. Of course, I've got uh, bills to pay, a home to take care of, kids to take care of, a career that I had built, but life forced me to hit pause. And it was through my own journey, through healing, through what was not what we know now is called burnout. My own healing journey took me through various parts and pieces of that journey, which I now call the reset method, and am now very excitingly and lovingly sharing with other women who find themselves in the same place. I had to hit pause to reset. I started with recognizing all the ways that I was allowing my energy to be consumed. And then I went into a phase in my journey where I had to evaluate why I was letting so many of these things consume my energy. That was a lot of self reflection for me to look at what habits I had built over my life that were allowing things, obligations, people to consume so much from me. That's where I recognized my people pleasing and my perfectionism and my overachieving habits. And then I went into this simplification mode, which is what I really wanted to focus on here with you today, which was looking for ways to break the cycle on these habits. And it was not easy, but it was important and it was critical. And I didn't do it alone. I went to a life coach myself. I went to a health coach as well, who helped me on a week to week basis take baby steps towards cleaning up my situation. Some ways that I learned to simplify were um, actually taking my breaks and not believing that when I take a break, I'm going to fall further behind. I had to break that habit and thought. So I learned to take breaks and I learned to take them more intentionally. And then I was able to learn I had to reteach myself to enjoy breaks. That was hard as well, but it was an intentional step I had to take. Another way I learned to simplify in my life was to turn off when I actually left work. My personal hours after work were mine. And that meant not checking work emails. That my hours after work were mine. And that actually meant to not check my work emails like I normally was doing. I also had to help simplify in a way that I had to learn how to ask for help and be okay with asking for help or delegating or even saying no. This is where I really had to learn how to set boundaries for myself. I broke the habits around what things made me feel guilty. Like if I wanted to take a nap, if I wanted to take a rest, a break, like on my weekends or at whenever they were possible, I took them without feeling guilty for not actually doing something. It's funny if somebody said to me, Jessica, we're human beings, not human doings. I thought that was cute, but true. I started learning how to feel like I didn't have to be everywhere all the time. That sometimes saying, no, I can't be there that time was going to be okay. And it wasn't going to cause people to dislike me for not wanting to be there. The surprising gift in all of that was that by doing all of that work with myself, I actually did simplify my life. Eventually, I learned to be stronger in my saying no's, in my managing my time in ways that aligned with what I wanted and needed, not in ways to overachieve or people please. It was a surprising gift of space. I realized that as I learned and grew through my own recovery, that so often we fear empty spaces on our calendar, or we fear not filling every minute up with something to do. But the reality is that in order to have peace in our life, it only exists within room and space in our life. Now, imagine waking up in the mornings and your mind doesn't go straight to thinking about everything that it needs to get done already. Imagine waking up and not feeling like you're already behind. Wouldn't it be nice to just wake up already feeling refreshed, at peace, not feeling exhausted and already consumed by all your obligations and responsibility before your feet even hit the floor? Imagine having mornings where you have enough time in the morning to actually just sit, drink your coffee because you have the energy and you can, or to just use the time to go exercise because you have the time and the energy to do it. Now, we fast forward and imagine ending your day feeling like what got done, and you feel happy about that. Imagine being able to look at your calendar and seeing all the appointments and to-dos that actually matter to you. Imagine living a life of peace this way simply because you learned how to create the space in your life for only the things that matter most to you. If that sounds like what you're craving most right now, then you've come to the right place today. Because today we're going to talk about my favorite and most powerful step in the reset method, and that is the S for simplify. I mean, the truth is, okay, so what we don't need is another planner. We don't need another productivity app. You don't exactly just need another morning routine. These are not going to magically change your situation. If you're feeling overwhelmed and you just feel like you're constantly running from one responsibility to the next, I want you to know you're not alone. So many women think and feel this way. I feel like I had hit a point where I was saying adulting is hard, and I've heard so many other women say that too. When was the last time your life actually felt like it was simple enough to manage? I don't mean not just where it wasn't productive or it wasn't successful or it wasn't busy, but it was just simpler times for you to get through your day. When was the last time you felt that way? Have you had a moment in time where you kind of felt like no matter how many planners you buy, no matter how organized you get, and no matter how many productivity tips you try to follow, the overwhelm is unshakable? Well, here's the key. I believe you don't need to keep doing more. You probably just need less on your plate. Have you actually stopped to think about of everything that is on your plate, is it all really required? Today, let's talk about simplifying life, creating room for the things that we really want, the things that we've been dreaming about. Look, I know what it feels like to be carrying everything, to feel like you have to say yes to be the dependable one. And man, I used to think that if I slowed down or took any rest, that I was going to fall behind. But I mean, the thing is that as women, especially professional women, we're praised for the more we do, the more we get done. But the reality is that we wake up one day and we realize that doing it all is actually costing us a lot. It's costing us our health. It's costing us our peace. It's costing us our joy. Could even be costing us relationships. You're not failing. Your life is just asking for space. This is a journey specifically designed to help you walk through the steps to reclaim your time, your energy, and build a life that you don't feel like you just want to run away from. I'm Jessica, and I am so happy that you are here choosing to spend this time with me. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Every week, we're taking one intentional step through the reset method. Last week, we evaluated where all our energy is going and why. Today, we're going to look at how to simplify. Okay, so let's dive in. What simplifying actually means is not about minimalism. It's not about getting rid of everything. It's just about finding ways to make room in life for our own breath. But there are various reasons why this becomes so challenging, especially for women. Oftentimes, as women, we struggle with simplifying around our responsibilities and our obligations because of guilt, fear, changing our identity, overachieving, people pleasing. I am a registered nurse of almost now 26 years, and I started out at my bedside nursing care, and through the years, had climbed through my healthcare corporate ladder, all the way to executive director within healthcare as a nurse leader, juggling raising three kids. Um, and I had a real uh, perfectionism complex. I was a people pleaser. I sure as hell was an overachiever. And I had a real fear of disappointing people. I didn't want to say no. I saw myself, my identity was strongly about being the one that people came to, the resourceful one, the problem solver. And people saw that in me. And so they flocked to me with their questions, with their needs, with their problems. And this is at home, at work, friends, family, coworkers, bosses. I felt like I needed to be part of my identity was also being the role model of what going the extra mile looks like, of being organized, of being so self-sufficient. Okay, so this is the point in the conversation where I'm going to ask you to take a trusting step for yourself. This is where I like to ask you to come hit reset with me. So here's your reset challenge for this week. I don't want you to add any one new habit or ritual or routine. No. But what I want is for you to remove one thing. Remove something from your calendar. Remove something from your obligations. Pick one thing that you can remove off of your to-do list and make room instead for nothingness. One meeting, one obligation, one commitment, one expectation, just one. Remove it and open that space and just leave that space blank for yourself. When you do that, acknowledge the feelings that are coming up for you. If they're feelings of fear or guilt, let yourself know that you're okay and it's okay. The world is not going to fall apart. You are not going to be hated for removing that from your calendar. So let's do a reflection. Grab your journal and ask yourself, if my life reflected what mattered most to me, what would I have more room for? So, if my life reflected to others what matters most to me, what would I be doing with my time in my life? And here's a part two to the question. What am I holding on to? What do I keep doing simply because I've always done it? And when you reflect on these questions, take your time. There's no hurry up and get it done. I mean, take the time that you need, but I want you to think about it. I want you to sit and stew in these two questions. My life reflected what mattered most to me. What would I have all sorts of room for in it? And number two, what am I holding on to simply because I've always done it that way? There's no right answer. It's not a trick question. I'm just asking you to be honest with yourself. Okay, well, if today's conversation resonated with you, I do have a community that I would love to invite you to join. It's called the Women's Reset Collective. I will leave the link to the collective, to the community in the notes. This is a place that I have so happily built to cushion us, a group of women, where we can come together to continue these conversations with each other, to support each other, to learn from each other ways that might actually help us, benefit us in our personal lives. We're all walking unique situations in our lives, but I'm telling you, we're all going through the same things together. Inside the community, you're also going to find free courses, free resources that I keep loading in there for you. I put some guided journaling prompts in there for you. I'm going to be kicking off a monthly live coffee chat. This will be an opportunity for anyone to join into a Zoom meeting room once a month where we can really talk and share our thoughts, feelings, and ideas about certain events or situations going in our lives, support each other, hear from one another. It's a space where I'm personally inviting women who will truly understand this situation and truly understand each other. And I'd love to welcome you. All right. So, next week's episode, we'll talk about one of my other favorite parts of the reset method, and this is empower. Once we've created space in our life, we need to learn how to confidently fill that space that align with choices that help us become who and what we want to be in our life. In that segment, we can dive a little bit deeper into boundaries, listening to our intuition, and how to choose ourselves without guilt. And I can't wait. Okay, so remember, your energy is your most valuable resource. Without it, what can be done? What can get done? How can you live? Spend your energy on what matters most. Do things that refill your energy and not just take away from it. Keep choosing yourself. And I will see you in the next episode of your reset journey.